Hello, welcome to Win Some, Lose More. My name is Dieter Loosemore and joined again by my brother Rick, and we have made it, folks, to the top 10 of 2025. These are our favorite games as of right now. We've got 10 games each. There may be some crossover, it may not be 20 in total. We've done what we have built a tradition of doing with the top 10 and have various boxes around in front of us. I mentioned last time that I don't own them all, so I am missing one box, but we will come to that when we get there. Number
Mm.
10.
Well, can I say at this point, it's I haven't got any new games,
No.
but this is the biggest surprises for me. As there's a few there, I'm just like, really, really that high, and I just couldn't disagree. I could like, will something go higher? I don't know, I don't know. So I'm a bit. We'll see. But anyway, my number 10 will come up later.
Ooh. My number 10 was number 8 2 years ago, was number 10 last year. I think has just always been in the 10. Um, I've spoken about this so much. Onitama always
Hmm.
works. The tactility of this is beautiful. The pieces are real chunky. You play on a neoprene mat. I now own both, or are there three and I'm missing one? I don't know. I own expansions. I may never use them. I just like having them because the base game they were on a bargain. It was silly not to buy them as an option because it comes with new move cards and it's those cards that are the fun of the game. You've just got five pieces, they've got five pieces. You either win by taking their main guy or getting your main guy to their home base. It's super simple, but unlike chess, where each piece has its own move, you play a card, and the card then goes to your opponent that they can then use it against you. There's only five cards, and it rotates, and it's just beautiful, just elegant simplicity. But uh, yeah, we'll probably I can't see it coming out. I would have to get so many new games that are my favorite game ever for this to not be in the top 10. It just always deserves to be here, Onitama.
Hmm. My number 9 is the first of these. Really? Because it's one that's been dropping every year. Three, then six, then eight, then 17, then 26, and then suddenly back up to nine. My span of choice is Wingspan. I don't know the focus is good on that, but you've probably seen this box before because it's very, very famous and
Yes.
very, very popular. And I've been playing this, so some of it has to do with play. And I've been playing this with my daughter now because she's old enough for it. And my wife and I have now got the Asia expansion. They did a clever thing where they brought in two-player rules, which really spice it up nicely. And I totally understand all of the complaints about luck with the dice, with the deck, with all that kind of thing. But I also just really like playing it. I like an engine builder and I like birds and I like nice pieces and I like wingspan. It almost feels a little bit basic now to say it, but hey, it's good. And I have all the expansions apart from the Oceania one. And some of the reason for that is they added in a new thing which made it more gamery and more complicated. And it basically took it to a place where I didn't want it to be. Because this is a game that I can teach all sorts of people because they go, oh, that's cute. And I'm like, yeah. And here's a slightly flawed but solid game underneath it that you'll go, oh right, I didn't know I could play this kind of game. And it's pretty magic for that. And there's a reason why it's sold hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of copies because it's pretty good, isn't it? Number 9, Wingspan.
It is. I probably misrepresented things when I was talking about FinSpan in that, if I made the spans one item, they'd probably be in the 30s. Like
Yeah,
none of them are like plummetously bad. I've enjoyed all of them a fair amount. I
mm.
think Wingspan was in my 20s last year.
Yeah,
I just didn't necessarily include it. It's not that it's the spans, and for this I'm saying Finspan like you did Iberia for Pandemic. I'm only going to put one on the list
yeah,
because I'm just not going to play the others because I have the
yeah.
one that I want.
And I think that part of the reason this has climbed is because I've played the others now, and it is the one that I like best of the three.
Yeah,
Partly for theme, I like birds the best of all those.
sure.
Dragons way down, fish I'm okay, birds the best. But also mechanically, it's I when I play Finspan, I really appreciate it. But I'm like, oh, I wish it did, and I go, oh, I actually like Wingspan more than
Mm.
maybe I realized.
Mm.
So.
Yeah. Whereas for me, I could spend a day in an aquarium and not feel I've been there enough. It's just fascinating to watch. So the fish really work for me. My number nine has always been in the top 10, caused outrage and controversy the internet over. Um, no thanks. This was number one 2 years ago, number five last year, so it's falling to its death at number nine. No, it's like Onitama. This will always be here in some capacity. I say it's always been in the top 10. I think actually it hasn't. It's always been top 20. It's always been on that cusp of 10 or so, but it's just a perfect game. There is nothing wrong with it. It doesn't necessarily give me what some of the other games coming later give me, which is why it shouldn't be number one. But it's so good. I was worried when we had both independently played High Society, and I was like, it's got some of that feel. Is this going to knock no thanks for me? No, no, it is not. This can go with anybody. The collapsing, if you get consecutive numbers, you only score the lowest one. When watching people realize that specialness is incredible for me. So, no thanks remains on the list, but at number nine.
Well, some games that are almost as fun to teach as they are to play.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
My number eight, I wonder if it will be a crossover, but in no way, because we both have a game, I think, on this list that the other goes, really? And, our eyes are like, really? Because they're not attractive and they come in the same sort of size box. Power Grid, for me, just keeps hanging on in there. When will it go? When will it drop out of my 10? It's so old. It's so clunky. It's like I've got auction games that I like better than this.
Yeah.
I've got resource management games that I like better than this. But it's just something about it that I just go, I really, 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 really still like Power Grid. And it's been in my top 10 ever since we've done this. I don't know. It's an auction game and it's a resource management game and it's deeply uncool now because of global warming and stuff. Though it was talking about that a little bit at the time, wind farms it brought in and blah blah blah. It's just a great economic game and I just can't quite seem to let it go. It's great.
I've made a boo-boo.
Don't tell me it's not there.
Oh no, wait. No,
Oh,
I have missed a game completely from my list that last year was in the top 10 and has always been around the cusp of the top 10. I don't know how to feel about that now. Tapestry's not on my list and I don't know what to do with myself. I just searched through the top 100 and it's not there. I must have just, which is bizarre because PubMeeple takes your account and all the things you own. Don't know how it happened. Tapestry would be somewhere around here. It, it,
if you
oh,
like, you can have my rating for it, which is 128. You're
no.
welcome.
No, so my number eight. Let's do this first. My number eight was number 11, number 17 last year, so it's always around. I've not played it because I don't own it. Um, this is Santorini. It's one, every time I think about it, I love it. I want it. I want it back. I want to play it. It's beautiful. It's so much fun. All the powers were cool, but I never need them, but they're nice to have. Just a great game. I'm gonna I oh I don't I can't pull it off the shelf now. I was gonna just say let's call this Tapestry. I can't. I can't. Santorini was it's here. I'm annoyed. It's great game. Santorini, my number eight. Let's hold to what I said.
Yeah, it's 75 for me. It was in the 50 last year. I just haven't played it, but it is surprisingly good for
Yeah,
me. It's not one I think I'd enjoy, but yeah, it really works. And totally agree about the powers. I've not played them, but I don't feel the need to.
sure.
All right, number seven for me, which you're going to be mad about, by the way. Number seven for me has climbed up because it was number seven, and then number seven, and then number nine, and number 10, and number 11, and then is now back at seven. But I think I can get away with it now because it's not Seven Wonders Duel, but it is my, can I believe it, highest rated Lord of the Rings game, Duel for Middle Earth.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Then I
My
missed
number,
something.
and which is
Okay.
bizarre because if
Okay.
someone said to me, "Hey, I'd like to play a Lord of the Rings game," it's probably the one I go to last because it's the least themey.
Yeah.
But you tie that together with Seven Wonders Duel, and what you do have is for me the best two-player game in the world because you could play either. If you don't like Lord of the Rings, definitely go for Seven Wonders Duel, right? But if you do like Lord of the Rings, go for this one because I think it's better. I know you said the opposite earlier, and the reason I think it's better is this: you're still trying to figure things out, aren't you?
I
Don't worry,
am.
we'll come to it.
I am.
When in Seven Wonders Duel, they took Seven Wonders, which is a game I like a bit, but not much, and then they made it a table draft, which I liked a lot. And you can win by scoring points, or you can win immediately by winning on a military track, or by collecting six different sciences. Those were really the sort of saber rattling options. I have seen victories on both of those, but most of the time it came down to points. What the Lord of the Rings, the Duel for Middle Earth does, it takes away the points entirely, and now you have three immediate game ending opportunities. If it comes down to it, and you get to the end of the cards, which I've seen maybe once, it's down to military presence on the board. Otherwise, the game ends by if you have 7 military presence in 7 different cities, if you have the ring in Mordor or the ring wraiths catch up with the ring bearer, or you collect the 6 different not sciences anymore, but races in Middle Earth. And because of that, and there's lots of other things they've changed. They've streamlined currency, and you now don't have to take a card to build a wonder or stronghold, so you can delay tactics. There's lots of nice tweaky bits they've done. But the big change is that because there's no like, oh, we'll go down to points, everything feels emergent. Everything feels like you're
Sure.
going to lose because you're doing really well at this, but I'm doing really well at this. But then there's that third one. It's not even like there's just two, and I'm good at this and you're good at that. There's three, and it's a two-player only game. Immediately, you feel like you're on a knife edge every single turn, and you can't just go because you could absolutely, you could do sit down and go, well, you've got 5 plus 6 is 7 plus 3 plus 2. You could count. But I'm not that sort of player. I'm not that sort of player at all. I'm one of someone who wants to play by gut instinct and think, well, you've got lots of people there and you're chasing me down there, and everything. So every move feels tense, and that's why this is now shot back up for me because I do think, theme aside, this is the best version of my favorite two-player game of all time.
Valid. Yeah. Um, I apologize if my face drifted off. I'm still annoyed about Tapestry. My number seven was number seven last year. So we both held our sevens. It was 27 the year before that because I hadn't played it, and then I started playing it again, and have now it again when I did the list a little while ago, it probably had dropped out. But I've now introduced it again at home, and it's gone really well. This is my old hideous box. This is Concordia, as Rick alluded to before. Um, it works very much like Century Spice Road. You play a card and you do the action. At some point, you get your cards back and you get some stuff for that. That's it. Except with this, you're spreading out across, depending on the map, the Roman Empire, or what did we play recently? I don't know, Egypt or Hellas or or Italy itself. Lots of different maps that you can get, like Power Grid. If you want to do a particular place, just get that map, and some are better for smaller player counts, some for bigger. Surprisingly versatile for how old, and it's almost a, oh, you like Monopoly? What else is there? This is one of the ones that I would suggest because there is a thing about putting houses down and moving around the board, not in a circuit, but spreading out as you choose. Um, so it works across many levels. The scoring is not intuitive and is the hardest thing for people to get their heads around, and probably the second play is where they'll enjoy the end of the game. The actual playing of the game, I think you'll enjoy quite quickly, but there are the Roman gods that score in different ways, and depending on how many cards you've built your hand to be of those types, there's multiple. It's the one little thing, but and it being hideous. Other than that, Concordia, great.
All right, my number 6 has done the near impossible. It has held its position. It was a new entry last year, and it was at number 6. And again, this is another one where I'm like, really? But I think this is really fun. Reiner Knizia, my favorite of his is Quest for El Dorado. You can keep your Ra, you can keep your Amun Re, you can even keep your Lost Cities. I think this is great. Now, I love deck builders. I love race games, and and it's just so clean. It's so easy to play. Again, we I got this last year, so my kids must have been 5 and 7 at the time, and they looked at it and went, "Oh yeah, well, yeah, I spend swords to go through the sword space. Yeah, and I spend ores to go. Well, yeah. Oh, I need more. Well, I probably need more a higher one. Wow, and like there's actually some tricky bits about like you can't add them together, but you can split them and things like that. But they can play it, and we've played it a whole bunch, and it's got some promos. There's a whole load of expansions that I can't get because unfortunately Ravensburger have not published them with the same art. Other people have published them with that art, but then there are different sizes, so I can't actually. It's very annoying. But you know what? It's still up here, and I haven't got any expansions apart from a promo pack. I'm like, this is gold because you can rearrange the route. You can, but the system of the deck building always stays the same. But what haven't I told you? Oh yes, there's only 6 cards you can buy at any kind of time until something killers out of the market. What a just classic Knizia. Just little touches, little touches. Open the play space. He's a German genius. Also, I like the Dutrait. I don't like the original. Again, it was one a bit like I was saying about was it Quacks earlier or last time. You know, sometimes a game needs a reprint to just look a slightly less Euro-y for me. And yeah, and also this was a huge surprise last year because I bought it in a literal fever dream. I was off sick and my family were away, and it was on special offer on April. I was like, I must buy this while I was watching Futurama, half asleep, and then woke up in the morning and said, "Your order is confirmed." I was like, "It's what?" And so, what a happy surprise. Always buy games in fever dreams. Note to self. Number 6, Quest for El Dorado.
I think I mentioned right at the beginning, I just forgot to put it on my list. So where it would have been, I couldn't tell you. But yeah,
Okay.
great. I agree. I'm surprised it's in your top 10, uh, and certainly maintained being in your top 10, but
Wild.
great. My number 6 is the lowest it's ever been. It's always been 2 or 3, and then suddenly last year it was number 4. And it's now number 6. This is the biggest box of things that I will only play a third of. In fact, Vindication monster, unnecessary monster. But if they release more, I'll get more. This is purely play. I guarantee you this is lack of play. I've not played it this year, and I don't think I played it most of last year, which is why it's just going these other things, apart from one, which we'll discuss when we get to it. Everything else I've played and played more and played frequently, and they're present in my mind, so they're always the top. This I know I love, and I know as soon as I play it, it's going to be fighting for the top 5 again. It absolutely will. And I still want to try all of the things in it. It's just finding enough people that like it even slightly as much as I do, which is bizarrely difficult. Um,
Mm.
I just must have got it at just the right time and in my development of in my taste of board games. I don't know what it is, but semi sandbox. You wash up on the shore as a scumbag, which is hilarious. And you go through the world and you flip tiles and you explore, but also you're playing with this almost. Rick mentioned Gaia Project last time. It's almost Terra Mystica cubes in different bowls type system of this potential, which is currently nothing until you make it
Mm.
into influence. And then sometimes you can have conviction and you use once it's stopped being potential, then you can use it. And so there's almost these tiny little thematic ties, which are really cool, but it's also
Mm.
just a completely abstract Euro, whilst also being almost a story type investing in the world game. It's impressive. It's not your art style. I appreciate that. It's possibly not even your mechanical style necessarily in some of the areas, but I think its core conceit mechanically you would really, really like. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
Vindication.
Yeah. All right. My number 5, we'll talk about later.
I can only count 2 games that could possibly be crossovers. I don't know. My number 5. Rick was wrong. This is the best two-player game. Um, but he's not wrong because this has zero theme. This is Targi. This
Oh,
always fell in and out of my top 10, but again, it was in the pandemic-y era where everything was online. This was the only one that I was good at on Board Game Arena and was, actually could compete against other people. It then just sits on my shelf, doesn't really do a lot, but we've started bringing it out, and it's just been a compulsive 45 minutes. Let's just sit down and do this thing, and it's just a lot of fun. The Axis system of putting your workers on the outside, and you get those actions, but also what it intersects with. Those cards come to you either as goods or the tribe cards to build your 12 card tableau, and it's a race. Either the game runs out of time or you finish your tableau, and you get points for set collection or varying the sets. It's ongoing powers, end game powers, instant benefits. Like it's every Euro-y trope in a tiny box that is an hour but feels like a good 2 hour crunchy game. It's kind of just a me thing, and I get that. I think I tout this more than most of the internet ever does, but for me, it's exceptional. It could look nicer. It could. If they did a Quacks, Quest for El Dorado um, glow up, I would probably trash this and get that. But the game, so good. So good.
yeah.
Targi, number five.
Yeah, sadly, not even in my shortlist anymore. And just because of that aesthetic
Yeah.
element, it is, I mean, it's a pun, but it is dry.
So
It's
dry.
very, very dry. But yes, the actual action, which I just think should be in more games, like put a worker and then get those things. I'm like, why doesn't anyone else do this?
Yeah.
Like, well, like with a game that we'll come to later that pinched something from Civilization and went, let's now make that great. Um, surely someone should pinch that. All right, my number four, you could call a casualty. I mean, not really, but it was number one last year, and it's back down to a probably more reasonable place. Which is, I've just realized, I think it's the focus on Zoom doing weird things, isn't it? Where it's like, ooh, focus, not focus.
Oh,
But
I
anyway,
thought your
number
Quest for El Dorado was shiny. I thought it had like a
no,
foil
it's
finish. Oh.
I'll have to find a setting on Zoom to be like, oh, make it all just try not to blur out my. Maybe I probably try to touch up my features just a little too much. Anyway, Heat. A great game. And last year was number one just because I played it all of the time.
Yeah.
And it is a funny thing about expansions. It's a funny thing about expansions because sometimes you get them and they go, wow, look at this, it's just opened it up. I never ever want a game to only work if you have the expansions. That's true. But sometimes you get them and they go, oh, wow, this is now perfected or just taking it to the zenith or whatever. And sometimes you get expansions that go, huh, we've kind of seen what this can do now. And we're kind of, and Heat was one of those. I quite like the first expansion. In fact, one of the tracks on the first expansion is my favorite track of all, um, which is Mexico. But the other one, I didn't care for the tunnels, and I thought the other side was a little bit bland. And I was just like, that's sort of just, it just takes the shine off things a little bit when you go, not everything is stonkingly brilliant. Let's just be very clear about this. This is my absolute favorite race game. And I love race games. This is something I'm discovering about myself. Didn't think it was a thing, but I really, really like them. I like El Dorado. I like betting games, Ready Set Bet. I like, so many. I love that sort of sense of adrenaline, and Heat does it in spades. And as we said, is a thick box for a retail box because it comes with a shed load of expansions, because it comes with a campaign mode, because it comes with a just glorious bot engine where you can play two player, one player. You can play one player, and this is a reasonable game to play. And it's a race game. Tell me any other game that does that. It has a brilliant garage mode where you can soup up your deck. It has great sort of deck management, hand management, and then it's got real stress when you're just like, I've got to go to this corner and I've got terrible cards in my hand and I've mismanaged everything and my car is actually going to blow up. And for all it's, I'm just playing some cards. You do really feel like, and I love the fact they set this in the 60s
Yeah.
because it feels like those cars that are just like, we are actually going to die.
Yeah.
This is not a well made car. We're just pushing it to the limit. And it really, really feels like that. And so if you want a race game, get Heat. It's about as perfect as it can be. There's just three brilliant games coming afterwards that they just maybe is not quite my favorite overall. That's okay because it's still pretty good.
My number four is my first point of confusion for your list because you have said a contradictory thing, I believe.
I've got my things ready.
Okay. Um, we have different containers for this because I have the same as you. I've just kept the box. This is the best Lord of the Rings game. I don't know why you're not counting it as a Lord of the Rings game. This is War of the Ring, the card game.
Oh, come
This
on, focus.
when when I did my interim list, this had gone to number one because I had just played it.
Yeah.
And it is one of those. I spoke about it last time. It was my number 14 last time. Um, since then, I've only played it in the four player. Last time we talked about a big six-player game that we played with the expansion that you may well have done since, and we'll get your thoughts on it in just a minute as well. Um, for me, the ability to have that set story and yet the
Mhm.
story never be set is unbelievable. I waxed lyrical last time about arcs and kind of the impressiveness of the design. This, they have the constraint of source material and it
Mhm.
just being decks of cards. And yet they they've done it. They've just done it. I've played it at
Yep.
two. I've played it at four. I've played it at six
Yep.
because we only like even numbers, and it works at all of them. And bizarrely, the more players, the better. Which
Mhm.
again, I would have thought four would be a nice thing, but the expansion is so well made and the extra factions and things balance things so nicely. And that now multiple, how much information do I give to my partners in the room because everybody else can hear the game we spoke about last time where your friend was just, we thought we'd won and he was like, don't worry, guys, I've got this. And then just, you know, 1 Minas Tirith back from us. All these kind of Hail Marys just exist within the things and it evokes that sense of the only way we're winning this thing is putting this tiny ring in that giant mountain in the middle of enemy territory. Yes, that's the story, but that's the feel, the scope, the stakes. Even if
Mhm.
your final battle is typically Minas Tirith, which it seems to be, either for the first time or for the fourth time, who
Mhm.
knows? That ability to pull battle lands or whatever they're called back, battlegrounds back, is whilst the story is continuing with the other cards as well, and you're going, do I play it here? Do I play it here? But actually, I don't want to play any of them because then they'll be gone because you've got two different types of discard piles. I'm gonna spiral. Tell me why it's on your list and what number was it? Remind me.
It was number 10.
Okay, wrong.
So yeah, three back from Duel for Middle Earth. And again, I think if someone asked me what is my favorite Lord of the Rings game, it would be this
Yeah.
because I'm not saying that I think Duel for Middle Earth is my favorite Lord of the Rings game. It's just my favorite game, and it happens to be Lord of the Rings. I think actually probably it's my least favorite Lord of the Rings game. If I was looking for a thematic experience, it would be at the bottom. I think I said that earlier. This would be at the top. Again, it's very group specific. And I think that's
Yeah.
great. And do you know what? That's why I've got my top shelf of my games over there, a Lord of the Rings shelf, because they all deliver something very different.
Yeah.
Because this is a team game. This is a team. How many team games do you own? One,
Thi-
probably this.
This.
Code names, maybe. That's it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
that, that's it. It's incredible to have a team game, and it's incredible to have secret information and such thematic cards, but well planned mechanics and yeah, just the opportunity to have superpowers that just no one knows about. But also, we haven't even said how the game plays.
Sure.
You have 4, 5 cards in your hand, and you play a card. To play a card, you discard a card, and immediately you're heartbroken because
Mhm.
you just go, "But I want all of these.
Mhm.
I want all. All right, some of them are going to come back, but in ages." It's not going to be fair. Sometimes it's obvious, like Gandalf White. Let's stick him later. Otherwise, you just don't know. And you're right. The expansion, different to what I just said with Heat, the expansion just takes it up that little notch because it goes, okay, how are they going to get the Southrons and the Eastlings and the Ruffians? They kind of made all this up rubbish. All right, you can understand a few extra hobbits, but the Southrons are some of the best ones because you're like, okay, this battleground can be fought by these people and these people. And then Jiminy Billy Bob, who you thought was out of the game, just goes, oh, by the way, I'm allowed to come in because I'm the Corsairs of Umbar, baby. And you're like, what? But what happens at that moment? Does everyone complain? The fact that they're like, well, that does not seem fair. We've been planning for this thing. They go, no, because that's what happens in this story. And so you have those story constraints, but then they create better moments as a result. Now, if you don't like Lord of the Rings, I don't think this is the game for you. You do have to have an affinity
Yeah.
for the source material, which you don't in Duel for Middle Earth, for the record. But I still would recommend Seven Wonders Duel over that. But if you do, this just creates moments and memories, and this is why War of the Ring is just all the way down there because that's what that game does as well. But am I going to play a 4 hour, 2 player massive minis game, or am I going to do a 2.5 hour, 6 player team game? Well, maybe. And I've got friends who come around, they're like, wait a minute, there's six of us. You know what that means. We go, yeah. Okay, the reason this isn't slightly higher is I have had one slightly duff game of it recently, and I think you're right. Sometimes you play a game and you go, or sometimes you're like, oh, that was brilliant, so it's going to be slightly higher. It just the we won, which is great, but it wasn't tight enough because some of their guys weren't just quite. They didn't quite get it or know what they were supposed to do well
Sure.
enough, and that's sort of failing on them, but it's also a sort of a failing on the game. So, because the one where we lost, you talked about earlier, I don't count that as a ding. I count that as a plus because it was magic. And actually, we lost because my own stupidity that I hadn't counted properly. But that's not just because I'm stupid doesn't mean the game's bad. The game's perfect. But yeah, like I say, just a tiny hair. I'm just like, oh, maybe just a couple of things I could see some cracks. But other than that, the best Lord of the Rings game out for me and for you.
And for me, definitely.
All right, my number three is a climber, but kind of these are all climbers now by the virtue of the fact that the heat's dropped, so it's kind of irrelevant. But this was number one for a very long time, and it settled at number three. Is Terraforming Mars, which is, and this obviously is the half of the box because I've got the big box, which you kind of need because the original one is, particularly by modern standards, ugly as sin. It was ugly as sin 9 years ago when it came out, 10 years nearly, I suppose. Um, and it hasn't got prettier. But they've souped up a lot of the pieces now. And the problem I have with this game now is that people come round, they're like, "Oh, I never played that. Can I play that? I'd like to try it." And then I show them, and they go, "Oh, cool. How much can I buy?" I was like, "Well, for my copy, £400, something like that." And they're like, "How much?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you see, I got in at 40 quid, and I've been adding and adding since then." It's an engine builder. Which is just one of the most enduring game mechanics for me. We talked about it on Wingspan. We talked about it previously. Fantastic Factories and other things like that. Things where you just like start small and get bigger. Really, that's the joy of Euro games is that you start with not a lot and you end up with quite a lot. This is a theme that I really enjoy. I don't, as we've said with I think with Arcs, or something else, spacey. I don't know. I don't love space theme. I don't love fantasy. Yes, I just whack lyrical about Lord of the Rings, but it's quite limited in my scope. This really works for me because it's kind of real worldy. You're trying to colonize Mars in 400 years. There aren't, what did you call them for side expeditions, the squiggly digglies or whatever? There aren't silly sci-fi, which in my book, that kind of thing. They're just unnecessarily monstrous. It doesn't have any of that kind of thing, and it's just I haven't played this in quite a long time, actually. Uh, but it is just a very, very good economic engine building board game with a again, one thing I love, a central board with working together. I want the heat to be at this level so that I can play this card. Someone else has played that. Okay, great. Now we're in this position. Yes, they've scored points for it, but it kind of benefits me because I've been waiting to do this thing. It's interconnected. But it's also sort of head down cube pusher. Has lots of stuff that I know it is not your favorite, but I know that you can appreciate the way it works if you don't even appreciate the game that it is. And it's been around for a long time and it's still being played all over the world quite a lot. So I imagine that it will stick around for a long time. Terraforming Mars.
Yeah. Interestingly, I was going to say a thematic crossover, but I don't mean the theme. I mean in terms of you and I. Um, that your number three was your long-standing number one. My number three has been number three before, but for the longest time was my number one. Rick mentioned it last time. This is Scythe. Um, I have played it a couple of times this year. Um, it just always goes well. But it's interesting hearing you talk about terraforming Mars, and a lot of those elements are what makes Scythe for me. Yes, there's that
Mm.
central board where we're all, in this case, moving around and potentially fighting and warding each other off and getting resources rather than building up the planet. But that engine builder, that starting small, that the joy of this on the player board is that row of cubes at the top that can be moved down so that the top actions become better and the bottom actions become cheaper so that you slowly become more proficient in more things and your turns feel more powerful as you go on, particularly if you then get to the central factory and get that additional action slot down the side, which you've got to do top and bottom action. It just gives you great stuff, maybe at a cost. Um, I say it every time, but I love this because I get to play the way that I want to play it. And that will be
Mm.
very different to how somebody else plays it. It also means I don't win much because the way that I play only works sometimes depending on the speed or the strategy of the other players.
Mm.
And I could get better at it if I wanted to. I don't care. It's because it's 2016, same as Terraforming Mars, because we got those games at about that time. There is
Mm.
such a almost now just a comfort game element to it that I know I like playing as Polania because I like the multiple options on the encounter cards just to feel that I'm getting that boost and gives me a sense of exploration. That's something I enjoy. It's why Expeditions is higher for me, as high
Yes.
for me as it is. That sense of exploration. I've mentioned it in quite a few games. Vindication had that. The two story ones of Vantage and Sleeping Gods had that. That sense of just let's just see what's there. I like that in a
Mm.
game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those encounter cards are just purely Euro mechanic gain two monies or spend two monies to get this. It's that, but it's
Yes.
not because it's built
No.
through Jakub Brzezinski's world, whatever the controversy with the art, I don't care. You look at this picture and it says you come across these people with a reindeer. Would you like to offer food for their reindeer and therefore gain popularity? Like it gives you a reason why you're gaining or spending the things that it's asking you to in a very Euro mechanic way.
Yes.
And it's just a nice touch. And as I mentioned, when you were talking about it last time, or Expeditions, I suppose, when I was talking about that, this looks like a dudes on a map. Let's go fight. Let's come in swinging. Let's build up power. Power is a track. It absolutely is. It's a way of getting a star towards the win condition and points at the end. Absolutely, it is. I built that up so quickly so that I never have to use them because
Yes.
I want people to leave me alone. I will send my character off to go explore and do these wonderful tokens. Other than that, I might just stay on my peninsula and get Riverwalk last so that I
Mm.
don't have to venture into the world. I'll just keep trading rather than farming. I'll just do this instead of this. I'll just do this to this. Just leave me to build my what that engine building, that sense of progression that now I can afford to do this thing. And now it's suddenly cheaper. I'll do all my upgrades. And people are like, why are you doing upgrades? Do enlisting. And I'm like, enlisting's boring to me because I don't care what you're doing. I want to play my game. And yet other people
Yeah.
will play it completely differently and have a very different experience, want to go out attacking, want to see what other people are doing, want that bonuses when their neighbors do this stuff and play that way. And chances are we'll be within 5, 10 points of each other within a,
Mm.
80-point game kind of thing, 50 to 80 points kind of range.
Mhm.
So multiple paths to victory, which is also fun. Not for me, I don't win, but it's got those options and I wouldn't necessarily ever play at seven, but the expansion that took it up to seven, those two factions are cool. And tokens that you're not on a peninsula and you do have to move around much more. Interesting new dynamic. Just everything about this. My version isn't even as fancy as yours is. I'm missing a couple of the metal bits and the realistic tokens and whatnot, but I've got what I want for it. And
Mm.
I just really like it and we'll keep it forever. Number three, Scythe.
My number two is Brass Birmingham, which is the highest it's ever been, and I'm faintly surprised again by that.
I am.
Um, hmm?
I'm surprised.
Yeah, and again, it's another one where I'm just like, why is it so high? But then I would then answer myself, why isn't it so high? Because I think it's exquisite. Because you have 8 cards to choose from, and you can do 2 actions, and you have to discard a card every time you do an action. Some of them will be linked to those cards, and some of them you just have to discard a card, which gives us the same feeling we had earlier when we talked about War of the Ring, the card game. Which card don't I care about? I'm quite happy to bin. Okay, let's and so you're constantly shuffling them. Well, let's put this at the front because that's really important. Put that at the back. That's burnable. Oh, they've already used up all that space. Okay, fine. Or I've already built it. I can't use that. Okay, fine. That's good fodder. Good. I need fodder because I've got so many other things I want to do. And we've said this 100 times, but brass is, and I still have yet to find a game that is as interconnected as this. I said it just now about Terraforming Mars. Oh, I need the heat to be at level, 3 degrees or whatever it is. There's not 3 degrees; it goes up in even numbers. But 2 degrees, and for me to do this thing, or I need the oxygen to be this, or I need this, or I need this, and I can play my card. This is not like that at all. It's not that you're triggering events on the board that mean you're able to play the thing. Rather, you're in the Industrial Revolution, and you're kind of just as an ecosystem serving one another
Mm.
because okay, you want to build a coal mine. Yeah, that's fine. You're going to need iron. Oh, that's cool because I've made iron. And when you use up my iron, it's kind of free for you. You don't have to go to the iron market and spend quite a lot because I've got it next door. That's great. Just come and pick some up. I don't mind. Oh, but when you've done that, you exhaust all my iron and I get a long-term income because what we've done really, we've set up a long-term contract. It doesn't actually come out of your pocket, but I'm making money. You don't want to give me money, do you? Because that means I'm going to do really well in this economic game. Oh, I also got points from that. Yeah, that's right. I get points because, I made the iron for you to use. But what are you going to do? Go to the market and spend money? Well, A, the rules say you're not allowed to do that if I've got it going. But B, yeah, you don't want to do that. It's going to cost you too much money. But I've got the thing. I want to build this, and you've got the coal that I need to build these steam trains. Oh, that's a problem. Okay, now I need to connect to that. Oh, you built that up for you to use. Well, now I'm going to use that. And it's in bizarrely for a game about the Industrial Revolution. It's organic.
Mm.
It's remarkable, and it's deep and it's crunchy, and it's possibly, I think, if you looked it up on Board Game Geek, I don't know, the heaviest game. Like it'd be up to the fours somewhere, and yet the rules fit on a playing card.
Mm.
I can teach the game very easily. I'm like, okay, this thing slightly fiddly. Here's the permutations. Everything else, pick up a card, do a thing. It's like I was like, okay, fine, yeah, that's pretty easy. But the rich opportunities of play underneath are exceptional. I don't think I want the Pittsburgh version. I don't think I'm particularly excited by the Lancashire version. I really like this one partly because it's playability. Lancashire's a little bit more hardcore, I think, than I would want for certainly my group, but at least maybe for me too. Um, but also having lived in the Midlands, I quite like that sort of tie to it as well. Lancashire, I could get on board with. I know people who live there, and but I don't really care about Pittsburgh. So, but I'd always be keen to play any of them. So maybe I'll give them a go. But Brass Birmingham. Oh, and by the way, Roxley's poker chips don't hurt either, do they?
The
My number
Ironclads.
two.
Lovely. My number two, I also believe it's the highest it's ever been. You mentioned this at the end of the last one. And you said it's gone up despite not playing it, not thinking about it. It just is that good that it grows in your brain.
Mm,
I played this a couple times last year. I've not played it this year. I have got a nice
mm.
new box for it that comes with the expansion I will never use. I don't know if you can even read it. There it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
The Light
yeah.
Paladins of the West Kingdom. My favorite Garfield game. Um, comfortably. I don't think I've mentioned another one in this 50. Gosh, I think this might be the first year it's been the only one. But
Wow.
never mind. It's it's come to number two, and I made the list, and I sat back and went, "What? That makes no sense. I've not even played it," and sat
Mm,
there more with it, and went, "I'm I'm not mad about this.
mm,
It makes sense. This works because I can play it at any player count, including one, and just love every second of it." Similar to Scythe, I get to play the way that I want to. Like Rick was
mm,
saying with Brass being kind of this whole interlocking system, this has two or three interlocking systems. It's not as grand as Brass by any measure. There are three colors. There are themes, but mechanically, mathematically, fascinating little go round. I build up this, which costs me this, but I can build that up by doing this third one, which I cost to do this. And you can do that cycle almost one way with three of the actions, or the other way with the other three actions, with whichever pick and mix you want to do of that.
mhm,
Like getting into the mathematical design of it didn't ruin the feel for me. It made me appreciate it more and respect it more because when I play it, the bit that everyone's excited about is that I get to draw three paladins and one is now, one is later, one is never. Fascinating.
yeah.
Fascinating. And all they do is slightly change my stats. How strong I am in an area. Like it shouldn't be this good. But it's one of the best two-player Euros, in my opinion. It is
Mhm,
one of the best takes on worker placement. Rick mentioned this with a couple of the Garfield games that what they're really good at, certainly in the North Sea and West Kingdom era, was let's take something that everybody knows, basic worker placement, and do something slightly different with it each time. I love the Raiders worker placement of put down pickup. I like bumping,
mm,
which comes in other games. This is color based and fascinating that you draft a collection of workers, probably the same amount as everybody, but they can only go in different
mm,
spots. So it's not just what do I want to do and how do I want to play, but
mm,
what are those resources, the workers in this case, that I have available to me to complete those? Do I waste two of them just to get one wild one to be able to do the action that I want to do, to be able to do that last little bit, to get that one extra food, to be able to do this other thing, to then get this bonus, and now I've revealed this extra thing, I now get an extra worker back, so I can do this other.
mm, mm,
Everything grows, everything is bigger, everything is just so interwoven, but in really quite a simple thing. You just put a worker down and do what it says. That's
mm,
all you do. And yeah, there are six things. That can be a lot, but really you only need to play with three of them. And even then, probably only try and max out two of them
mm,
because if you try and do too much, you'll lose. So just pick the thing that sounds cool. Do that. You want to
mm,
build a wall? Build a wall. You want to go convert the world? Go convert the world. You want to
mm,
be absolved for your sins? Do that. You want to go play with the conspiracies and the black market and kind of like getting all the taxes and then getting
yeah,
shafted later? Great, do that. If you want to just
yeah,
go
yeah,
pay off your debts, that's too real. But if that's how you want to play your game, do that. It's got freedom of choice in a very constricted, very controlled mathematical game. And I don't know how they get that balance right, but they do. And we talked about Carl Ferrin a few times with leader games. The Micho is possibly my favorite board game artist. Certainly the most distinctive alongside Carl Ferrin. Those two
yeah.
are my jam, but so good. Yeah, I've not played it and it's climbed. It's that good.
Mm. Well, we talk about game art. Um, I found out, I think not very long ago, but I heard it today actually, that my least favorite, joint least favorite artist,
Clemens Franz.
uh, not Clemens Franz, but the other one, Dennis Lohausen,
Okay.
who did Quetzalcoatl and
Oh,
He's
okay.
basically
Mm.
it's Clemens Franz, but not Clemens Franz.
But not
Um,
disproportionate.
he
Yeah.
is one of the artists on my favorite game of all time.
Really?
Well, how about that? But you wouldn't notice because he just does the maps. You're looking at the nice, pretty pictures of the animals. It's Ark Nova back in number one after a year of absence, back in its rightful place. I mean, this is undoubtedly my most played game, and not least because it's basically the only game I ever play solo. I don't mind Terraform Mars at solo. It's the same thing, basically. Hey, it's a race game. Guess who likes them? But it's an efficiency engine race.
Yeah.
I don't like solo games where you have to score yourself. I don't like games where you're playing a fake opponent. I don't like how it's fast and feels desperately lonely. But I like a
Some of
game
us
of
are.
all right. But I'm like, and sometimes I'm on my own, and I'm like, I don't want to play a game that's sort of simulating someone else here.
Yeah.
I'd rather play solitaire.
Yeah.
A game that can I do this in time? Can I beat the game? And that's what both Terraforming Mars and Ark Nova do in solo. But I play a lot of Ark Nova solo. It's a great thing when my wife's got some rubbish on TV. We just, Gilmore Girls has been the flavor of the month, and wow. But there you go.
With it.
We've just finished, mercifully. But I've had it. I just have it out on the floor, and I just like to just get on with it, and just now and again shout out -6 this time. Didn't quite beat it. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, how'd it go? Well, a couple of nice penguins, but um, okay. I'll never. If you don't know, was the game I was referencing earlier that pinched the mechanic of Civilization: A New Dawn, where you have 5 action cards.
So good.
So good.
So good.
Do you want to build animals? Yes, you do, but they need to be up higher. But you also need buildings. You need to build things, and they go along this sort of journey. Sorry, I go this way for your sake, left to right. Um, they go along this journey, and they get stronger as they go up. And so you really want that thing to be there, but this thing's here. And okay, can I make the most of this here? I don't want to just pass and get an X token. And so this is the game. Ebb and flow, efficiency, efficiency. And then, okay, economic game. I need to have this much money to be able to buy the enclosures, to pay for the animals, to make sure they've got enough food and all that kind of thing going on. Okay, you've got that. And then but also we're not just here to make money. We also want to conserve the world. Okay, so we've got to release some animals into the wild. We've got to support some conservation projects. We've got to, you know, can I tell you, I think, okay, let me just precede this before I say it. This is a game that has theme and mechanic like nearly nothing else. It tells stories. And for that reason, I have taught this game, heavy as it is. It probably is competing with Brass for the heaviest games on my list. Heavy as it is, I've taught this to players who have only played Ticket to Ride because the theme does so much heavy lifting. Because they're like, oh, it's a zoo. Yes. Oh, I could build a panda. I'm like, yes. What do you need? Oh, I need to have this. Well, do that. Oh, I can do that. I can build a size 3 enclosure. Oh, I need other panda symbols. Okay, I'll bear symbol. I've got one of them. And like it does it. People buy it. They're like, I get it. And oh, it gets me that much appeal. Yes, people want to go to my zoo. Oh, it's an economic game, but you haven't thought about like, oh, I'm doing crunchy economics. You're doing how can I make a fun zoo that people are going to pay to go to? It does that, which is incredible. The absolute apex of this I played the other day with my wife. We the boiler was broken, so we had to stay in and wait for the boiler man. I was like, let's play a game. I play Ark Nova. I was like, oh sure, fine, okay, we've got some time, let's do that. Wasn't expecting that. And she won. Do you know how she won? I mean, she played fairly well, but she won because I got all the way around. There were 2 tracks. I didn't say this earlier. 2 tracks. You've got money coming in and conservation rating. And when someone crosses, that's the end of the game. I got to the end of the conservation track and I had endgame scoring, which would have given me extra conservation points. I looked up the rules. You can't go beyond that point. It's distinctively meant to be the end because thematically it says, yeah, you haven't got a lot of money coming in. And I hadn't. I'd gone all the way around and I was only making this much money, but I was trying to do all this conservation project. And isn't that the way? We all want to conserve the world. We all want to look after these animals, but we also need to have a bit of better finance to make that come in. And so I lost the game because I overstretched myself trying to save the world and didn't make enough money for the actual ticket sales. And I thought, that's brilliant. That I mean, it's frustrating. I would have totally played a different way if I'd known that. But it's brilliant because that's how the game should work.
Yeah.
That's how it should feel. And they've changed the scoring so you don't get minus points anymore, which I don't like. I think it should feel like a zero-sum game. I feel like it should be like actually you're fighting really hard to look after animals and to make things profitable. I think that's a really good theme and mechanic combo. And so it takes, I think it's Raja of the Ganges also has that crossing thing. It's other games that are like, and it goes, okay, what mechanics can I use to tell this story? And we played a game, and I was like, that's a story. I've released all my animals into the wild. My zoo is flipping empty. No one's coming to see it. It was an absolute PR, what's it, but an economic disaster. That's a good game that makes those stories. Number one, I've never.
My number one. I've tried to be deceptive, but I don't think anybody noticed or cared. Um,
I noticed.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Earth, still number one from last year. It was 17 before that. It shot up. Oh, this was your seven?
Five.
Five. Oh,
I
that's a
know. So
big
this is the
increase.
other one where I was like, why is this so high? So it debuted at 8 2 years ago,
Yeah.
dropped down to 18 because I was like, fine. I've got the expansion. Does it add enough for me to go, oh, yeah, this is so much better? No. Have I played it a couple more times? Yeah. Is it that much better? No. But do I really, really like it and want to play it again very soon? Yes.
Which is interesting because if I haven't, but if I were to go back and rewatch, I'm pretty sure you said I'm not bothered about playing this and again. It's nice,
Yeah.
but every time I play it, so I will pick up that point. Every time I play this, I come away going, ah,
Yeah.
I did this thing, or it doesn't have the same kind of stories that Rick was talking about with Ark Nova necessarily, or the War of the Ring, anything like that. Those kinds of stories. But it does always have the, oh, if I'd only done, or if you'd just done this action, or I just needed you to do that thing. Because we talked about Race for the Galaxy, both of us, a little while ago, on that idea of somebody chooses an action, and then everybody does that action, but the person that chose it gets a slightly better version. That's what this game is. Everybody's playing all of the time. Dream. Love it. No downtime whatsoever. Does that mean sometimes some person's still thinking and planning some stuff out whilst everyone else is done? Yeah, sure. But in every other game, you're waiting for three other people to do their turns independently, like discreetly. So it's still way faster. Um, it's it's the thing that made me know I didn't care about Wingspan because it does a similar thing in kind of that tableau building, engine building thing, but
Yeah.
the plants are cool. I really like the plants. I like that the animals are the scoring mechanism. I just think it's a very different game to the Span games. It's not a
Yes, yeah,
direct
yeah, oh, yeah.
comparison, and so it would be
Oh, I
unfair
often
to do
teach this
that.
though for people who have played Wingspan
Mm.
and go, and they're like, I really like that. I'm like, like this is Wingspan Plus.
Yes.
Because in the same way as you need cards and you need eggs and you need food, okay, here you need, and I always teach you the same way. The rules don't say this, but I think it's good. What do you need for plants? You need seeds, soil, water, and sunlight. And that's a way of teaching those things. Oh, like in Wingspan, the four things. Yeah, except that I'm playing with you.
Yeah.
I'm following you all the same
Yeah.
time.
What I love about this, though, compared to Wingspan, is Wingspan has the set number of slots per row.
Yes.
Whereas this, yes, you're still building a 4x4 grid, but the colors on the cards are corresponding to the action. So not only do I get the stronger action of this, and you get a lesser version of this, now everybody triggers every effect that they want to in order, left to right, top to bottom, of that color. So I could just go really heavy into yellow. I'm sure there's theme, heavy into yellow and loads of my cards trigger and do loads of things, and I produce my engine that way. Whereas somebody else is going heavy into the reds or the blues that give them different things and are more about growing up their little trees that are 3D trees and just look really cool, or getting out their sprouts, or getting loads of dirt, or composting loads of cards to get points at the
Mm.
end. because we like compost because it feeds plants. So there are those thematic touches if we look for them, or you just go,
Mm.
this is a beautifully mechanical whilst having plant stats and facts on a card. And if I'm waiting for somebody, I look at the sequoia in front of me going, of course that would have a 6 high thing, whereas this mushroom only has a 1 because this is a giant tree and that's a mushroom. Of course it like just those
Yeah, yeah,
tiny links between.
yeah, yeah,
It's not the pinnacle, it's not the Arc Novas, it's not the one thoroughly supports the other. It's if I like the setting, I'm going to really enjoy
yes,
this. If I like the mechanisms, I'm going to really enjoy this. But no matter which one, you'll
yes,
notice something of the other one and go, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
yeah,
like of course it, yeah, it would do that.
yeah,
Yes, this would produce that thing. Oh, this would be able to hold more of these things because it's a bush. So of course it's got more sprout places or whatever because it produces, that's what it does. Whereas this thing doesn't have any. And it's just all of these things kind of mixed together. The abundance expansion for me does add enough that I will never play
yes,
without it. Seeds are just an
yeah,
easy, oh, here's just an extra thing you can do, or it's a couple of extra points. Cool.
yeah,
Some of the extra powers about now about you choosing an opponent or your neighbor. If they do this thing, something happens. Cool. It's just those tiny, even more interaction, not just what color have you chosen. Okay, now I do my own thing. It's what color did you choose? Cool, let me do my own thing. Oh, actually, you get this. Oh, actually, oh, I got that. Oh, thank you. That's cool. Oh, now that lets me do this thing, and I do that in the midst of a setting, a climate, the weather. There are other modules to do other things if you want to. It's just beautiful.
mm,
And it's
mm,
satisfying every time. I don't come away going, "Oh, I've got this story." I come away going, "I made something." And
yes,
that's kind of one of the other things that I love in games. And it is just
mm,
that cardboard and wood kind of approach to everything.
yeah.
It's
Good,
yeah, it's great for me. Earth.
yeah,
I said years ago, I was like, it's going to take something really special to knock Scythe off. I wouldn't have, I don't see, I see this being moved for a while. I'm going to say something
mm.
similar for this. It's going to take something to knock this off, number one. I really do.
And for me, if it's not in the top 10 next year, I wouldn't be shocked.
Sure.
But I do think it's
Except
really
we've got the
fun. And
animals
we've
coming, so
pre-ordered
maybe.
exactly. I think, and initially I'd seen the animals expansion. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to sell Earth.
Yeah.
Why do I need this? And I looked at it, I went, that's kind of fine.
Mm.
Like, yeah, you won't play it every time, like Abundance,
Yeah.
because you can deal it out nicely. And I think it would add the level of complexity you don't need to teach. But I think once you played once, it really won't hurt because it's just ways to get. It's not a sideshow expansion, which I don't like. It's
Mm.
just a way of getting more stuff of the stuff that you want, and you get to play with fun animals.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. No, it's good, and I think is it the Wingspan comparison is interesting because it is a heavier game. It is more than that. But I think what you said about sort of you buy the mechanics based on the type of plant it is.
Mhm.
You get that in Wingspan too, and I think of the spans that it does that the best
Yes.
because the theme in Wingspan doesn't really make any sense.
No.
I'm collecting birds, I'm plucking them out of the air to make them into a great photo aviary.
And giving them
What?
eggs and then stealing their
And
eggs.
that and they've made a flock out of other animals that might have killed them in another scenario is whereas Earth actually makes more
Yeah.
sense because you are making an island
Yeah.
because you are fine, you wonder how all these things fit together, but actually some of the climates and that kind of thing, oh, that works together and that makes sense. And like you say, it's not Ark Nova, it's not War of the Ring, the card game. It doesn't have anywhere near that level of story, but you buy it. You
Yeah.
buy it, and it's good enough that it carries people through and goes, "Oh yeah, a sequoia, that's a big ass tree." And so, yeah, there you go. It's good. Number five,
Great. I'm
and I
pleased.
think that's our highest number of crossovers ever in the top 10.
In the top 10, two
Because
within the
we
same. We always had Scythe before you
we always have
were
Scythe.
wrong.
We'll always have Scythe, dear.
Yeah, true. I can't think of
Nope. Maybe
Fair?
there's one other time we had two, but I can't think what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was
Yeah.
putting it together, I was like, wow.
So yeah, you'll have seen a lot of crossover kind of the top of my list at the bottom of Rick's and vice versa. And we kind of, because,
Yeah, yeah,
we play a lot with each other. That helps. And
yeah.
also, convince each other to buy games that we want to try. So I think I'd really like this. Why don't you buy it? So we do have a lot of
It's
crossover.
flush at the time.
Yeah, in the kind of games we play, but you will notice some differences in there as well. We've spoken about kind of our different approaches to games, what we're more able to do intuitively, one than the other kind of thing. So that we hope we haven't just bored you just talking about the same, you know, 60 games on a top 50,
Mm.
but it is interesting how, your top one, Ark Nova, was what, my 46 or something like that. I can't
Oh yeah.
remember. Like it's 44. It's a great game. I acknowledge
Mm.
that. It's just not for me. And so that we do these kind of, well, I always like doing these so that you can make these decisions yourself. So that you see these and go, oh no, I don't know what they're talking about there. That seems dreadful. Or go, oh, some nice colors or some shapes or Lost Cities, this big puzzle just to play with one per like whatever it might be. I hope that you find something from this that you are going, that's interesting. Let me check that out because it might be for you, it might not. It's just fun stuff to try. We both teach games at least as much as we play them, if not more often. Um, as that's part of what this channel is about. So thank you very much for joining us. That is our top 50 for 2025. We hope you've enjoyed it. Do throw in the comments. What are your top games? We want to hear from you and see what you say as well. We will potentially be back. Life happens, but we'll see how we go. Hopefully next year for the top 50 2026. But until then, I've been Dieter. This is Rick for When Some Lose More. See you then. Bye.